All right, this is the third day. We start with the 41 question. You are driving a
Yeah, he
vehicle.
just took
I
my
don't know where
straw.
he came from overnight, man. They
Oof,
I didn't
so
give it in my straw.
it's the third day. You are driving a vehicle that can safely be
got
driven
your study guys already go.
55 on open road for traffic.
Minutes.
I just did this one. I think I got it.
You're on 695. So 55 miles an hour. Traffic's heavy now, moving at 35. Though the speed limit's 55. The safest speed for your vehicle is most likely
25.
Say again. Very good. You got to maintain the flow of traffic, so it's 35. If you're doing this, you're impeding. If you're doing this, you're running in the back of people. They're telling you everything you need to know here. Make sure you got this because you're going to get this question. If it's 55, the traffic's super heavy and you're 20 miles an hour under, this is all you can do. You've got to maintain the flow of traffic. So the answer is very good.
My cousin told me 25. He said it all loud.
Pretty self-explanatory, right? You'd be surprised how many people get this wrong. Most pick 25. They figure it's safe, but that's called impeding. And you're well under. And I know how that sounds, especially if you're shifting gears. Stop and go, stop and go. It's a pain in the ass when the traffic back up. You gotta maintain that flow. Alright? 42.
All right,
Okay.
and what fires can you use the ABC fire extinguisher?
Mandatory, everybody remember the mandatory emergency equipment? Fire extinguisher, fuses, and flares, hold high, lights, and tigers, and hair. That's how you remember that. Well, guess how you remember this? ABC, 1, 2, 3. ABC, 1, 2, 3. An ABC fire extinguisher kills 3 items. In this case, electrical, burning liquids, and burning cloth. A BC, so we have 2 different fire extinguishers. A BC kills 2 items, electrical and burning liquids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ABC, 1, 2, 3, BC, 1, 2. That's how you remember. So in this case, you got them all, right? Pretty simple. Good. That looks good though.
Well, who you need to bridge?
Now I got this refrigerator, I'm gonna start bringing some stuff.
No, but
Because I started to
do
pull
it for real.
this is sit in there.
Motherfucker.
You see?
43.
Fuck. No, what's your fault?
All right, so. We're back in cargo. Let me see if I got enough of
They braids or dreams.
Oh, Dre.
I didn't know.
No. You said Dre. Dre.
Is they dreads
Dre.
or braids?
Dre.
Oh, so I said, well, braid.
these. Do this and go right to this sheet. This has got some great information on here. You'll see what I mean. So which of these statements about cargo loading is true? Which of these statements about cargo loading is true? Again, I'm looking for false. The legal maximum weight allowed by the state can be considered safe for all driving conditions. So here's an example of you have this word in here, but it ain't the right answer. Remember I said 99% of the time? Well, here's the 1% that's not the right answer, right? So that's out. Slight overloading of the vehicle can make its brakes work better. You're high if you believe this, right? So that's out. Alright, let's leave that one alone. If cargo is loaded by the shipper, the driver is not responsible for overloading.
Not true.
So let's talk about this right now, get this crystal clear. You are freaking responsible for everything that goes on with the truck, no matter what. Right, so no matter who loads it, if you got a lumber at night, you're coming in and dropping the hook in the morning, but he's loading at night, you still got to make sure you check, within reason to make, until you get used to his procedures, to make sure he's loading it, right? state laws dictate legal weight limits. Every state is different. So, the reason I'm gonna say that, and then we'll get into this, is what's legal here may not be legal in West Virginia. Not only that, it may not be safe. So you may be a legally weighted tractor trailer in Maryland, but when you get into the mountains of West Virginia, you may find that you can't descend the hills with that weight, even though it's legal. You may have to, and there's been guys that, if you have pallets, guy, comes up to the top of the hill, he calls it in and says, look, I'm gonna leave 3 pallets on the side of the road. I can either come back and get them, or you can have somebody come behind you, but I can't descend this hill with the rest of this load on here, like it's too much, right? So that's what they mean by that, right? Alright, so alright, so let's look at this now. Pretty much a lot of this we've already run over. We're going to go over now, just to kind of refresh. This section tells you about how to cargo safely. You must understand basic cargo safety rules to get a CDL. If you load cargo wrong or do not secure it, can be a danger to others and yourself. Basically just telling you got to make sure. Your vehicle could be damaged by an overload, steering could be affected, and then whether or not you load, we're going to jump around, whether or not you load or secure yourself, you are responsible. And then there it is, inspecting, recognizing overloads, inbounds, pull bounds, and then knowing your cargo is properly secured. Right? These are discussed below. So now we're going into these sections. So let's go down to before starting. Before starting. Now, what do you see down here? Inspect your cargo and securing again within, and I want you to take that 25 and turn it into a 50, because the law has changed. This is old material, but all you got to do is take the 25 miles and make it 50. Have I got that? All right, so now what is it? It's the one I gave you. 50, 150, every 3 hours, every break dawn driving. There you go. That's so this will become part of your study guide as well. So again, change the 25 to 50 because the new law is 50 now. You're going to notice as we go along, my curriculum is loaded with 5s, 50s, 15s, 150s, 500s, a lot of 5s, we'll see. And you want to use that as a way to remember stuff. All right, so now down to the next section, weight and balance. And again, we'll go to the next page. Again, we're just going to reference this real quick. I want you to start putting some of these abbreviations to memory. GVW, GVWR, GCW, GCWR. So we're going to talk about those 4 right now. Class B is what? GVW. Class A, GCW. GCW means what? Gross combination weight. That is one tractor, one trailer, and what's inside. GVW is that dump truck and what's inside. I want to make sure you have this. Everybody understand me? So GCW is Class A terminology. It's the tractor, the trailer, and what's inside. It has to include the cargo. You're going to get questions on this, and make sure you follow me. Sort of like the following distance, the seconds and all that. This is in that same category, just different item. So again, GVW, the total weight of a single vehicle and its load. Single vehicle is Class B, right there. So whoever's in there driving and what's inside. GCW, again, the power unit, the trailer, and the cargo. All right. Now, what about GVWR and GCWR? All this means is what the manufacturer tells you you can carry. So GCWR is a tractor, a trailer, what's inside that the manufacturer says you can carry. GVWR is that truck with whoever's in it, what's inside of it, what the manufacturer tells you to carry. And that's basically what they're telling you right there, right? And you'll have time to look over that. This is a power-packed little couple of pages full of stuff. There's all this we're going to go over. Next one in line is axle weight. So we have axle weight, and we're going to go over our bridge formula as well. So axle weight is what? Here's the easy way to remember this. When you see axle, you're looking for the phrase transmitted to the ground. So axle weight is transmitted to the ground, which means from the bed of the truck to the suspension, to the axle, to the tires, to the ground. Bed of the truck, to the suspension, to the axle, to the tires, to the ground. So that's axle weight, all right? Tire load is strictly tires. You know, inside of your tires, it tells you what? At cold pressure, what you can carry. All your tires got that in the car and everything. I mean, most of our cars are 35 pounds. Cold pressure, right? So that's what they mean by tire load. Coupling devices are just your trailer hookups and all. We'll talk about that later. All right?
I seen it. I know.
Any questions on that so far? So we're right down here, getting ready to talk about legal weight limits. Legal weight limits. You must keep your weights within the legal limits. State has maximum. They're the ones that dictate that, right? Your GVWs, GCWs, axle weight. Often maximum axle weights are set for a bridge formula. So here we go. A lot of people are going to have some problems with this, but I want to explain it to you as easy as I can. Anybody know what bridge formula is? This is so you don't overload the vehicle and, not that it's there anymore, but go across the Key Bridge and collapse the bridge. Or go across Hanover Street, which wouldn't take a whole lot to collapse that piece of junk.
Yes, I hear
What
you.
a piece of junk. If you're paying attention when you go across Hanover Street up into Cherry Hill, if you look over the side, every time you hit a bump, you can see the concrete blowing like this off the columns. It's bad. It's bad. So anyway, bridge formula is this. Follow me here. Two axles brought closer together, less maximum axle weight. So let me show you what I mean. Anybody understand that? Two axle bridge formula. So axle weight is the weight transmitted to the ground. Bridge formula is when you take a trailer. So here's your. What are these back wheels called on the trailer? Anybody know? Tandem. Now again, you're probably saying to yourself, I thought this was a B class. It is. But I told you I was going to because it's productive and it's the way it should be taught. All this stuff comes together.
You said the back wheels are called
Tandem. T-A-N-D-E. I'm sorry, D-E-M. Tandem. So, the bridge formula is this. If you ever looked at a trailer, underneath the frame here are a bunch of holes. These holes are placement points for you to slide these wheels across, slide these wheels out, right? Now we're talking about bridge formula. So when you slide these wheels together, two axles less maximum axle weight. So this is coming up on the test. These two axles, all right. These were on A, let's stay on A for a minute. What do we call one tractor, one trailer. What is that technically called? 5-axle combo. 5-axle combo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? How much can a fully loaded tractor trailer carry? Nope, that's where, we're going to get to that. That's where your commercial weight starts. Tractor trailer in the trailer can carry 80,000 pounds, right? The load is carried where? In your doubles, your duals. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where your load is carried, right in here. This hooks on the 5th wheel, and the load is carried right here and right here. So, looking at this number here, what is each axle rated at? 20,000 pounds, right? 20, 40, 60, 20,000 pounds per axle until you wind up on the bridge formula. And I'm going to explain this to you the best way I know how. Fully loaded, each axle can support 20,000. The problem is here is if you're in certain areas, you're going to be cut 6,000 pounds, 3 tons. These two wheels slid closer together. They're not going to be 40,000 together. They're going to be 34,000. I know. That's all a numbers game. You'll get this. Trust me, you'll get it. Many have done it. But you're going to get questions. You're going to get these questions in your B general knowledge. Now, these holes allow you to do what? Spread this apart so you're carrying the load a little more equally. So here's my point. What do we say you're legal at in Maryland? 80,000 pounds, right? You'll go up on the scale and the state trooper will say, your paperwork's good and your weight is right on. But you're overloaded on your tandems. You've overloaded your tandems, which means he's citing you for bridge form, which means 2 axles brought that close together, you can't support any more than 34,000 at that point. So he'll say, I want you to go over, get off the scale, go over there and pull your tandems apart. And you'll drag the wheels apart. You go over and get a chance to homework tonight, go on YouTube and look at resetting tandems. You know, you'll go to pull the pins on the holes, you'll pull the pins out, get back in first gear, start dragging your one will stay, one will go. As you come apart, and then you can repin it to the position where you're not compromising bridge form. Yeah? Again, this is for certain secondary bridges, and again, I'll use Hanover Street, Cherry Hill, certain bridges you can't overload because next thing you know, you're compromising the structural integrity of the bridge, and you could collapse it. Right? So they still adhere to that rule, so you got to make sure you're following. We'll go over it again. Everybody kind of understand a little bit about what I just went over? Again, I know we're in B class, but this is going to help you to understand how all this comes together, right? Again, the load is carried in your double wheels. These are fixed tandem. That's your tractor. That's the little picture I got here. Maybe not great, but that's your fixed tandems. That's your power drive wheels. Those are fixed. That's where the trailer hooks on. It sits right on top of those wheels. The back end is where you have to be concerned. Again, you may be legally weighted, but you're overloaded in your tandems. And you'll know that as you become a professional. All right? So, to prevent overloading bridges and roadways, overloading can have a bad effect on steering, braking, and speed control. You really got to watch. I don't care if you're in a big box truck, and some of you may drive school bus or a passenger bus rather, maybe a roll-off or a dump truck. You got to watch how your load is distributed. It's got to be balanced in the cargo area. That's not front, that's not rear, that's not middle, it's balancing the cargo area. So I'm gonna show you a little video real quick. It kind of gets you to understand what happens to your vehicle when it ain't loaded correctly. Especially if you're in a trailer situation. All right, so let's do this.
Here's a great way to show you how keeping the waste.
What are you noticing right there? We already went over your bridge formula. And again, we're going to revisit this, don't worry. Top heavy, so you always want to make sure you put heavy stuff on the bottom, light stuff on top. So I want you to write this down for cargo, your cargo. You block low, brace high. So what I mean by that is if you got pallets in your truck, you want to block that pallet from doing side to side and front to back.
You said block low.
Block low, brace high. That's all you need to write down. Block low.
Block low, brace high.
Brace high. Brace high means once you get your pallets, once you have the stack going down, it gets past the center of gravity, you want to start bracing it so it doesn't do this.
So because you got other people loading your truck, do you think you gotta watch them do it?
Well, not necessarily. If you're using a lawnmower, whether you're doing it yourself or you're using a lawnmower, they should know that to block low, brace high. You can't have movement or load shifts. Load shifts are what cause you to roll a truck over. You know, you go up a ramp to get on the beltway and all the load. If you're going right, but centrifugal force tells the load to go left, who's going to win that? The load's going to win. All that weight is going to pull you over. So you want to make sure you're blocked so it's not doing this and not teetering at the top. We're going to go over a lot more of that when we get into tackle. All right, so balance the weight. We already talked about that. That page there gives you kind of a reasonable idea of what's right and wrong, right? Wrong, right. Again, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out something. And then there's a little test there for you. For what three things related to cargo are the drivers responsible? Recognizing overloads, poorly balanced weight, security. That's the first page. Now I got this in my head because that's what's all good. It's only the first page. So again, this is a test for this particular packet. So what you need to do is just kind of read it over and test yourself. Try to. It's the same way we do once you get in pre-trip. You'll be reading your pre-trip and then put your paper down. And eventually you won't need it. You'll have it all day. All right, so next question. How often must you stop while on the road to check your cargo without looking at your sheet? Who can give me their cargo check again? Back it up.
50.
50 in the right order. 50. 150 every 3 hours, every break. Cargo first. 50. 150 every 3 hours, every break. Tire check.
Every 3 hours.
No, every 2 hours or 100 miles.
Yeah, that's what I got.
You got it wrote down, so now you can reference your notes. I'm trying to get you to not use your notes if you can. Somebody will do. Everybody moves along a path differently in regards to memory. But you'll get it. All right, and the next one, number 3. How is gross combination weight rating different than gross combination weight? And what did I say the difference between GCW and GCWR?
Class A, Class B.
No. No. I got you. What's the difference between GCW and GCWR? It's on the first page. Don't look at it yet.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The load. With the person and the load. Yeah. Yeah.
What the manufacturer says you can carry. That's it. GCW by itself, the tractor, the trailer, what's inside. GCWR, the tractor, the trailer, what's inside that is allowed by the state. Pretty much. Alright, and name two situations where legal maximum weights may not be safe. Now, we haven't went over this yet, but I did mention it. Where are, you remember what I was saying? Where is it that you'll be legal here, but not necessarily safe somewhere else?
Might not be in Virginia. We might be legal here, but not in Virginia.
Right, so we're going to use this term here. So if you're legal here and you go and it's bad weather in the mountains, you may not be safe. And that's what's on the next page. Number 5, what can happen if you don't have enough weight on the front axle? So you're overloaded to the rear. What happens? What do we call that? Light steering, which means, I've had this happen one time. I'm going down 495 Washington Parkway, this is the 1980s. Going down, and I'm overloaded to the rear. The front tires are off the ground, but you won't know. You can't see it until you turn. And I wanted to get off the next exit, and as I started to turn, the truck went straight. I had no turning because the wheels are off the ground. So you're turning, but they're not, there's no traction there. So you're overloaded to the rear. That's what that means there. So you got to slow the video, get off the gas and drift to the side and readjust your load. Again, some lessons we learn hard. That's definitely one. Blocking and bracing, I already gave that to you. Block low, brace high. Here we go. Cargo tie downs. We got all these little formulas, right? So if you take the wild guess, if you got 1,000-pound pallet, let's say you got a pallet full of dish soap, all shrink wrapped in a pallet, it weighs 1,000 pounds. What does your strap have to be rated for to be able to tie that bill?
To like double?
That's a great answer. Nothing wrong with that. It's 1 1/2 times. So if I'm carrying 1,000-pound pallet, my strap has to be rated for 1,500 pounds. 1 1/2 times. Right? That's what we'll get at right here. Cargo tie down, a flatbed trailer or trailers without sides. Cargo must be secured to keep from shifting or falling off. In a closed van or tie downs must be important to prevent shifting. So they're for shifting and tie down. Tie downs must be of the proper type and the proper strength. The combined strength of all cargo tie downs must be strong enough to lift 1 1/2 times what we call aggregate weight or working weight. So your working weight is, when you're loading from a dock, the dock workers, they take every pound of the fork truck and they have a scale and they weigh each pound before it goes on the truck. That way your manifest tells you exactly what you got on that vehicle when they close the door.
Like that's what I was asking about people loading it. If you like,
Yeah, you still want to check.
so you micromanage
I don't
it.
give 100% of commitment to anybody in that area. I want to make sure because I'm responsible. If you take out a truck and your manifest is the only thing that protects you. Let me say this. Let's say you got a manifest that says you're carrying 14,400 pounds without your body. Right? Get up on the scale. Sometimes they make you get out, sometimes they don't. but your empty weight on the manifest says 1,440 pounds. When you get up on the scale, their numbers read 1,448 pounds. Guess what's going to happen? They're looking for 8 pounds of cocaine. And they're going to tear your fucking truck apart until they find out where the extra 8 pounds is. The last guy they called coming across the PA line, he was carrying cucumbers filled with fentanyl. He said there was enough fentanyl in those cucumbers to kill half the United States. Now, that's pretty profound, man. And how did they get caught? His paperwork wasn't in line. Now, him as a driver, whether he was involved or not, makes no difference to me at all. He could have been involved, maybe he wasn't. But his manifest protected him and immediately goes back to the shipper. You're the driver, the shipper gets the product from the carrier. So it's the carrier, the shipper, and then you, right? So the carrier brings the product to the shipper. Shipper weighs it, makes sure that it's safe for you to carry, and then it's loaded into your truck. He gives you the manifest, it says this is what you're carrying, and here's your final weight. Well, that's what protects you in the event you got fentanyl cucumbers on your truck. You may not know that. You know what I mean? So these are just little things. Let's see. You can write this down. So how many straps do we need to have in our vehicles? I know this is getting a little, we're going to dip away from it because there's a lot of formats here. How many straps? Okay. If I'm pulling these laptops on an open bed, this laptop right here, how many straps I gotta have?
2.
Minimum, I want you to write this down. Minimum of 2 straps per load. I don't care if the load's the size of this table or the size of that laptop. Minimum of 2, 1 every 10 feet. Minimum of 2, 1 every 10 feet. Okay. So on a 20-foot load, you need two straps, right? Now, a good driver, so on a 20-foot load, 5, wait, no, I'm going to put 3, because I want the ends down. But the law says you only need 2, right? Minimum of 2, no matter how big the load is, this table or this laptop, 1 every 10 feet. All this shit's coming up on your chest too. You'll be alright, you get it. Alright, so we're going to skip down. Special requirements for heavy pieces of metal. We use chains for metal, for the most part, some straps. Alright, header boards. I learned a hard lesson with this one. What's another term for header board? Headache rack. Take a wild guess why they call it headache rack. The last thing you want on an open bed truck is the load coming through the back of the cab and trying to take your head off. So I have a video of that where guys carrying a pipe this big, steel pipe, and the only thing you see, and it's from an angle, is the pipe went through the back of the cab where he was sitting, through him, through the front window, and the pipe's out past the motor, and his jacket's hanging off the piece of pipe. You're not getting it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're cutting completely in half, and the only thing was on the end of the blood. Huh? It's a still picture, but you know what. So I had a similar situation on 3-inch pipe before I was using headache racks, and had a guy cut me off, and then stopped dead in the road, and I had nowhere to go. All maneuvers were to the right? But I had nowhere to go, so I hit the brakes. The load came through the back window, it went ding, and shot right through the front windshield. So it hit my ear and went right through the front windshield. I was lucky, because it could have hit me in the back of the head. And it took the whole back window out, part of the frame, and it's all that weight moving forward. I do have a video I'll show you. It's a guy going on the runaway truck ramp. And when he finally stops in that runaway truck ramp, all the Everything he has inside goes all the way through the front of the trailer and where he is in the cab. Didn't get him, but you'll see. I'll show it to you. Okay, so covering. 2 basic reasons for covering cargo. So here's an easy hint for you to get this question at OVA. Never pick environment. Why are we covering? To protect the environment. No. Has nothing to do with that. We're protecting the cargo from weather and the cargo from people. If we're protecting the cargo from weather, what else are we protecting? The environment. So never pick environment. You're only picking, you're protecting the cargo from weather and the cargo from people. Right? And that's what that says in there. This is a amazing little booklet here. I'm telling you what, if you study this the way I have, and I can recite this word for word all 5 pages, you'll have half of this left. That's how much information that you need to know.
It's in this little package right here. This package is
Because you're
3.1.
it's what we call
Got a hater next to
redundancy,
me.
right?
And,
So if you're covering your cargo from
you listen to this video,
you're
you
protecting the
I had
environment,
the
right? The only other person you got to worry about is the
little
people
packet that
behind
he
you.
gave us on the third
You're
day.
protecting the people, right? So, and that's what it says. You should cover your cargo with flapping, tearing loose. You cannot inspect sealed loads. We'll talk about that later. And that's coming up now. So sealed and containerized loads. What are these? What are these? All right. So if you've ever hauled for like specialty companies, they then give you a container that has a lock on it. It's a seal, and the only one who can break that is if you get pulled over by the feds or the guy at the other end you're delivering it to. You're not allowed. I don't want to know. I don't need shit. I don't need a picture of shit. I don't want to know shit. Just is it secured to the deck and I'm not overweight?
That's it. That's what
So you're going to get that question, I swear to God. So it'll say, what do you need to know in regards to containerized loads? I don't need to know nothing, but it's not overweight and it's secured to the deck. Because they load those. You won't load them, right? So containerized now, sealed load is what I'll just tell you. What's containerized? You're either going to the railroad yard to drop it off, or you're going to the railroad yard to pick it up, or you're going to the port, to the shipyard to pick it off the ship or take it to the ship. So what we call ship and rail. So a containerized load, ship and rail. A sealed load, hermetic seal, you're not allowed to wear. What's up, Barney? Good. All right. This is a tanker thing here at the top of the next page, dry bulk tanks. You're going to love your tanker endorsement. It's one of my favorite to teach. It's at the end. But we're going to talk about just some general stuff. This applies. Bulk tanks require special care because they're a high center of gravity. So a tanker with nothing in it is high off the road, semi-unstable. When you add liquid to it, it becomes stable because you're squatting it down. You're adding weight. We'll get into that. All right. You want to make sure you have special care going around curves. This goes without saying for any truck. Hanging meat, suspended beef, pork, lamb in a refrigerator. Yeah, we get a kick out of that every time. So if you're hauling sides of beef and they're not block below and braced high, and you get, okay, so here I am, I'm going down, I'm in the right lane, the meat's stable, right? I'm daydreaming a little bit, and now my exit comes up. Ooh! And I make a quick move to the verge, and now the meat's gone, the meat's swinging, right? When I hit that exit, right, I want to go right, but the meat goes left. Who wins? Who wins that? The meat's going to win, and you're going to wind up rolling downhill. So stabilizing that load that you're carrying in there. This could be sides of beef. It could be pillars. Anything that can do this, you got to stabilize it because when you go into a turn, it's going to want to go the opposite direction of the turn because that's centrifugal force. And you want to be able to accelerate in your turns. In order to accelerate in a turn, you have to enter correctly. We're going to go over livestock. So big money in carrying livestock. I only got one thing to let you know about that. Is if you pull into a truck stop with a whole bunch of cows, you better pull down the other end of the truck stop, or you're going to get people looking at you. Truckers are in there to relax, maybe eat a meal, and animals smell bad. You want to make sure you're down the other end there. And they do the same thing. You're changing lanes, or you're moving, and they start marching sideways. So you have to block them and brace them. It's not hurting the animal because they're going to slow most of the time anyway. But you're trying to keep them from moving so they don't roll your truck. Right? So a lot of little things there. False bulkheads is what they're called. And you can almost say the same thing about sides of beef. You're going to use a false bulkhead to keep that beef from going like this. So you want to flip it your truck. All right, oversize. Again, over width, over length, over height, you got to have escorts. You got to have guys in front, guys in back with whip antennas. So the guy in front, he goes up under the bridge. If his antenna hits, it signals him in the cab that you're too high. You got to lower and then deflate your tires, go underneath the bridge, reinflate, go over there. That's a little trick I learned too. Always keep a nice beefy air pump in your truck. You don't have to worry about tire changing equipment, but there may be times where we all make mistakes. You may get under a secondary bridge and you're an inch too tall. Well, guess what? An inch is an inch. If the bridge is too low, it's too low. So if you deflate your tires, you can get what? 4 to 6 inches. Deflate, inflate. All right, so now another test. Test your knowledge. Minimum number of tie downs on a flatbed. 2, right? Every 10 feet. Minimum on a 20-foot load? 2. Very good. 2 basic reasons for covering the cargo. Weather and people. Excellent. Excellent. You guys doing good. And 4, what must you check before transporting a sealed load? What did I say about the sealed load?
Weight and
Security.
yeah.
Right. So I don't need a picture of what's inside. I don't need to know if it's fentanyl, cucumber. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. All we know is it's secured to the deck and it's not overloaded. It's within the legal weight limits. All right? So I employ you to go over that at home. You won't get any better. So maybe as good as I got. Reading is fundamental, as they say, right? That'll up your game considerably. A lot of great information. All right, so let's go back to.
I will go back to the video. This is the 3-point inspector cargo, that whole pamphlet.